Monday, the 13th of October. I am stopped on my way trying to get back home today, but just for a little tidbit, you can now say that your registered investment advisor is a Hall of Fame inductee or recipient. Kind of funny, over the weekend, my 1988 high school football team, 22 of us played or started. We all got back together. Most of us got back together in California, got into the High School Hall of Fame and the County CIF Hall of Fame as well. So kind of neat. Uh, I am now trying to have my wife call me Mr. Hall of Fame honey. And if you could see the look she just gave me next to me sitting in this car, I will be lucky if I make it home alive, or if I'm kicked out of the car with serious road rash and road burns. You now know why. With that said, tonight I'm going to go over the three things that I think are most important for our market for the next couple. Yes, but I could be walking home. If you hear in the background someone say, "Hey, could you go get me a water, a soda from the gas station?" and I disappear, she's like, "You know what? Find your own way home, kid." Okay, three things we're going to go over today that'll most affect our market in the next coming weeks. When I say the next coming weeks, the next 4 weeks. I'm going to giggle about it, and I'm trying to make some light of the first one. The 7 most terrifying consequences of a government shutdown. Brace yourself, America. The federal government's been shut down. Congress will no longer pass any bills, and federal agencies will grind to a halt. But there are some serious consequences. And here you go. Number one, the Capitol cafeteria will no longer be able to serve Ted Cruz his customary afternoon ho-hos. Devastating. The department you never heard of that does nothing for you will be furloughed. You can kiss the Commission of Overseas Native Fisheries goodbye. That one affects me. I love fishing, right? Government workers will lose thousands of hours of sleep that they would otherwise be getting at work. Because obviously no one wants to sleep on their own time. You sleep on the government's time. Rand Paul will be intolerably giddy. AOC will have to go back to bartending, but she doesn't know how to make a rum and coke. It's a tough recipe. Instead of shopping online while working from home, government employees will have to shop online while furloughed at home. And last but not least, no one will be able to unlock the restrooms at Yosemite National Park. So I'm trying to make light of the situation. In the past, does anyone know how long our longest shutdown was? How long was our longest shutdown? Ooh, my wife is giving me fingers and she's got it. 30 plus days, 34 days. Yeah. Basically, the longest shutdown, longest, can't spell, got stuff all over me. Longest shutdown was 35 days. It is a Republican shutdown. Anyone know what it was over? Very clearly, it was exactly what it was over. 35 days Republican, technically on Trump's watch. What was it over? Not interest rates. That's funny. You got to go back to the previous administration. It was actually over the border wall. This one, we're now into what? Day 9? Dang it. How did I do that? Someone tell me, where's my undo? Just erased everything I just put there. Edit. Well, I'll just type it in again. Huh. Oh, there we go. It sounds like I'm back. Sorry, that was on my side apparently. Having a hard time typing and holding a microphone all at the same time. Okay, I'm back though, right? My question was 9 days, who's to blame for this next shutdown? You guys lost me. Someone tell me I'm back. I see the video, the audio coming. You guys should be able to hear me. There we go. I'm back. Okay, perfect. So back to it. It's not necessarily blaming on Schumer because we have 45 votes or so to the negative. So on this time, it's going to be Democrats. Anyone know what it's over? Affordable Care Act. Affordable Care Act. And it's basically $1.2 trillion and again, you've got to read it because it comes out a little different, but it's not, it's for, how do I say it? So it's not just illegals. It's not written as illegals, but it's 1.2 trillion for maybe non-U.S. citizen based medical care. That would be the best way to say it. And they're keeping it's not listed as undocumented though either. It's just it's worded actually more along the lines of 1.2 trillion for non-US born / non-insurance. So that's just the way it goes right now. I do have an article on what this is going to take. It will probably be Schumer that has to bend, but that is the first thing that's happening that is affecting our stock market. Does it have to affect our stock market to the level that it is? It does not, but this is what we're up against right now. We're up against the fact that government's going to stay shut down. And unfortunately, or fortunately, however you look at it, and I don't have too much sympathy for government workers, even though I have, but non-essential government workers are losing their jobs. And I do kind of like some of this because does anyone know where some fun, well, I'm just going to say it. IRS has taken a hit. I love that they can be considered a non-essential government job. And I really hope that that more come. I would love to see them cut the IRS in half. With the reality is with AI and with computers, it's really easy to see who's being honest and who's not. Do away with them. Let's do it all electronically now. All right. Rate cuts we had on last Wednesday. We had the FOMC minutes. Something very, very interesting. The rate sees 2 rate cuts by the end of 2025. The central bank's officials in September were strongly inclined to lower rates, with the only dispute seeming to be over how many rate cuts were coming. So it's not a matter of how much or if they need them. We know what I just saw another question come in. So let me answer that question. What businesses hire non-essential workers? Interesting. But a couple things that are there. The EPA is on the chopping blocks. That I think was the second most that were let go. I don't want to say health services as well. Nope, it was education. Education was the third one. Let's talk about getting education back to the states, right? The 3-strike rule. No child left behind. Get that back to the states. Education department, which is ridiculous. What a horrible organization full of bureaucrats where the money is getting taken away from states. And then last, the health services. Okay, but here we go. Very interesting. All members want rate cuts. And the question is, how many and how quickly? So I found that interesting because I was led to believe that for the most part, we were seeing a controversy between Powell and Trump, and that Powell is like, you can't force me to do rate cuts. I have to admit, I thought it was primarily between those two. It seems in general after hearing the last minutes, we will definitely have 2 rate cuts by the end of 2025, and we will have 3 more rate cuts. It sounds like that we're trying to get our rates down by 1.5 percentage points. That is something that could be important. If you're going to be buying a house or selling a house, this is where they're making some big cuts. This should spur growth going into next year. Growth in the financial markets, as well as home builders or the housing market, which obviously is a big part of where people have their money stored up until retirement. So just something to pay attention to. If you read the minutes and the reaction, it's not the whole Fed, no interest rate cuts. They want cuts. They're behind the 8 ball. For all intents and purposes, Trump has called this right. And we're looking at about a total of 1.5% in rate cuts. Now, is it unheard of to do rate cuts during a thriving market with low unemployment? It obviously is, how would you say it? Is it needed? No, not necessarily. Are we paying too much in interest for money that's borrowed? And are other interest rates lower throughout the world? Did other countries start to lower interest rates and jumpstart their economy before us? Of course they did. But we always know the Fed's day late and a dollar short. They are proving it one more time. Last but not least, our market fell roughly 2.2 percentage points in the last hour on last Friday. What happened? I sent out to all the clientele taco trade. She made a snide, crappy remark about tariffing essential minerals and some other items to the United States, posturing for their meeting in Korea, South Korea, I believe, here in a week or two. So Trump came right back. I sent this out on Friday night or Saturday morning. Now we come to the taco trade. Trump always chickens out. Is this posturing for the meeting with Xi? Probably. I don't know. I'm not in the Oval Office. But we've seen this no less than a dozen times last year against many different countries. Does it work? My comment is hell yes, it works. And it works perfectly to create a balanced free market capitalism trade between companies. Is it morally or criminally wrong to make a lot of money? Because that's where it's coming to, is he wants a balanced trade. We're not going to get a balanced trade because the United States is too rich. Yes, it was hilarious for him to do reciprocal tariffs to balance trade against a dozen or so countries that were so small that the most that their GDP couldn't even come close to the trade imbalance. Obviously, uh, blanket tariffs that went across. The part that I find interesting is, though, people aren't bad people if they've worked really hard and they're quote unquote considered rich. The same principle is true for countries as well. The United States, I feel, is not a bad country because it's rich. It's not the responsibility of the U.S. to fund other countries that are spending beyond our means. We don't, again, is it a moral issue? Probably. But it's not our job to fund other countries when we don't have our own house in order. Will Trump fall through with the tariffs on Xi? Probably not. But if he does, is it necessarily a bad thing? These again are reciprocating tariffs. In case you don't understand what reciprocating tariffs means, even if it's hilarious against a dozen countries that are small islands that only make a couple $100 billion a year, it's the same tariff rate that the other countries have put on us in some way, shape, or form on the products that we manufacture, that they buy or that we exchange and trade. These are not tariffs on, hey, I'm going to get back at you. There are reciprocating tariffs, some of them on the highest level that they charge us for some of our products. Is it childish and immature? Yeah, it is. Is it hilarious and funny? Kind of, because we already know some of them can't stay in effect, period. But is it providing trade deals that are more beneficial to the US than what we currently have out there? Most definitely. It would be really interesting. You want to see the market head up to 72, 73,000 on the S&P 500? Watch a trade deal get put into place end of October, first or second week in November. We'll run through the end of the year as a huge catch-up trade in regards to the market catching up to all the new money that's now coming into the U.S. So those are the three things that we're looking for in the next couple of weeks to tell us if our market's going to go higher. Obviously, earnings. Earnings coming up. You will probably have to be perfect in your earnings. We have JP Morgan tomorrow, Bank of America on Wednesday. It'll be interesting to see how those two banks go. And of course, I forgot. My bad. Let's play it one more time. The question was just asked. Kevin, how did you know? And it's not a matter of how did I know, but let's take a quick look at our indexes. Horrible week. We were bearish, and I need to put my glasses on so I can see better. Right now, we're still technically bullish. RSI bouncing off of the 50-day. We're still technically bullish, but we were touching the overbought territory. So that's how we were looking at, okay, should we start to protect some of our stocks a little bit early? S&P 500, bullish, just barely. It's amazing how quickly we bounce off of overbought. And again, if we look at the NASDAQ, not bullish overbought right now, but we are bullish. And because of looking at these positions on our indexes, because we know, how would I say it? Because we know low tides sink all ships, because we have some stocks that were overbought, it was really simple to do a couple things. Kevin, you had a full collar on Apple. We did. It was overbought for a while. We saw it moving sideways, not getting above 255. We did simple technical analysis to put a 275, 255, how would I say it? Collar trade on Apple. Might be a 270 short call. How do you know it was going to fall down so much? We didn't. We used simple technical analysis to tell us we needed to protect at a price that it was trading sideways, where they sounded awful, horrible in the technology. I forgot what it's called, but the technology week that they had, Apple's really far behind the boat. We protected it. Easy and simple to see. If we took a look at Boeing, Boeing wasn't getting above the 50-day. Pretty easy to see the day it couldn't stay above. Let's get Boeing protected. Simple technical analysis. Super easy to see. Super easy to understand why we started saying, hey, we've got to get some things protected because of the way the market's acting. Lockheed Martin. How did you run $100 straight on Lockheed Martin? How did you know? Well, I'd love to tell you we got it right down here, but we got a bounce. We sold off in that 421, and technical analysis says we let it run. Did we start looking when it was overbought to get protection on? We did. We had protection going the whole time. Rather smart, but 500 was our level in the sand. Yes, we just let Lockheed Martin run for $90 to the upside. It's technical analysis. Kevin, why didn't you protect on Micron? Well, we did kind of. Micron was a little bit harder to see because it's run for a month. It's run for 3 weeks. It's run for 2 weeks. But it seemed like it can't get above 200. So pretty easy to choose a 210 short call. Give us $9.35 of credit. We didn't look super good on Friday, but we had something in place to make up some of the downward movement. Kevin, you didn't do anything on NVIDIA. How did you know? We didn't know. But NVIDIA doesn't move like the other ones. It also doesn't have its earnings till the end of November. So we're watching and waiting, but we will probably put on a 210 or 205 short call for NVIDIA to have something to make up any downward movement between now and earnings. Palantir. How did you know a 180 covered call would be a good position? I believe it expires this Friday. Again, we didn't. But we could see that it obviously wasn't getting above 190. And it obviously seemed like it wasn't getting above 180. We chose something in between its current price and the 50-day that it seems to come and bounce off of all the time. So we chose 180. Yes, we felt like schmucks when it was up at 188. But yes, it'll probably expire worthless. What great protection in the down day. We're just running covered calls that at one point was worth $11, even though we sold it for $3.60 or whatever. We're just doing simple technical analysis to tell us what we should be doing. It's really that simple. So when you ask us, how did we know? We didn't. Don't tell anyone, though. Just tell them that we are looking into the future like an algorithm should. We didn't know, but simple level 1 technical analysis. Good spelling, Hurley. Again, I'm one-handed holding a microphone and typing. Told us to protect early. And we didn't do it on everything, but we did it on the majority of things that scared us or make us worry. We've updated earnings for you to start to go through. I can probably take this off. That was last week. All right, big picture. Talks about earnings having to be perfect. I highlighted the bottom though. The earnings results and guidance shared over the next weeks will be an influential factor in determining if the stock market has a so-called melt up into year end or a meltdown. That is also going to be one of the 4 reasons if rate cuts. If we don't get the market or the government opened again, 4 points there. Earnings, government open, trade deal with China, or I should say a trade meeting with Xi. We need really all 4 of these to come through if we're going to expect run higher. That's what we're looking at. We agree, but we think it's more than just earnings results, government reopening, trade deal with China, rate cuts on top of good earnings. All 4 have to come into play for a melt up. All right, went through. Oh, yes, still think our markets are going higher this week. Totally missed it last week, by the way, as we were way lower. Earnings coming up. JP Morgan for us, but Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs, Johnson Johnson, Citi tomorrow. Morgan Stanley, Bank of America on Wednesday, First Horizon National, PNC. Thursday, Schwab, I hope they go bankrupt. US Bank Corp, Interactive Brokers, Key Corp. We're paying special attention to Key Corp. We might start to move some Bank of America into Key Corp or regional. Schlumberger, American Express on Friday. We should have had PPI numbers coming up, CPI numbers coming up tomorrow. I don't know if those are government or not, but we have PPI numbers expected for Thursday. CPI numbers seem like they've been taken off of the schedule. So I guess if the government is no longer working, we still will get CPI numbers. We will not get CPI numbers, but we will still get PPI numbers. I don't know. So short answer, this is what's expected to come out this week. Don't be surprised if some of them are government numbers that will not show up. Most likely, we will probably see inflation because it's a cyclical thing. Inflation seems to go down into the Christmas season. Would not surprise me if that continues to happen this year, where we'll have the justification for 2 more rate cuts, one the end of October and one in December. We should not have a rate cut in November because they do not have a press meeting. Very interesting article. Senator John Kennedy predicts what will force Schumer to end the shutdown. It's going to be plain simple, saying, "Hey, Democrats still need to save face, so let's have a couple Democrats dissent and get the government opened up again." Very interesting article about scary financial mistakes navigating the retirement landscape for business owners. really, it's just a way to look at some of the ways that you can grow your account using simple IRAs, 401ks, solo 401ks. There's some numbers in here to help you understand how much you can do for catch ups, but it's just really an article saying, hey, every year we have changes to what the government allows and what it doesn't allow. In all honesty, pay as much as you can if you're behind or if you feel you won't have enough for retirement. Daily, CNBC. Who controls rare earth minerals controls tech's future. I somewhat agree on it. I somewhat disagree, but very interesting article. The reason why I put it in here is also because that caused part of the problem and was used as where we're going to get back at China if they do a tariff on rare earth minerals. It also talks about the fact that gold seems to be stretched. Interesting article to pay attention to. Article about Latina James died after Trump called for charges against New York AG. I hope you guys understand. Trump can call for a lot of things. The guy bitches and moans about everything. But the president can't make any Department of Justice or even Bonnie, and they're like, oh, he's got his blow, and then he talks it. In real life, he has no effect over those people. On a state level, going over the Tina Jones, and don't forget, talk about weaponizing the government. 91 accounts against Trump. 91. Nothing was proven. If you think the government can't be weaponized against someone, of course it can. It's going to into the future. Once you cross that line, you no longer come back from it. 91 accounts against Trump. He's out of all of them. It'll be interesting as this happens now to the Democrats. I kind of hope they do 91 accounts against them. And if they're all 100% innocent, I hope all 91 are run through the court like they did Trump. And if they're innocent, they're innocent, they're good to go. I'll tell you, I'm not sure I see that happening. Kevin, it's not fair to weaponize the government. No kidding. It's not. It should never have been used before. Once you open Pandora's box, it's not going to stop. It just won't. If they're innocent, it's a major pain in the butt. And it's not right and it's not just. Everything I'm seeing now, right now, though, says that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to pay for fraudulent government waste and for all honesty, just doing it wrong. Taking advantage of the system, that's stopping, and it's stopping for those in power. Last one, IRS unveils higher capital gains tax brackets for 2026. They're right there. I'm going to start hitting you guys up here, most likely towards the middle to end of November on where you're at. We've had such a good year, we're probably going to have to pay some type of capital gains tax. But for most people, I'm going to go through those accounts that do have capital gains implications, and we'll try to make sure that we can do as little capital gains tax for you as possible. With that said, any questions you guys would like to ask me tonight? Sorry, I don't have this set up ready to go like I should, but are there any questions you guys have for me that I can answer for you tonight? And actually, well, I think I answered one. Let's do one more. Stuart says hello, Andrea.
Hey, Stuart.
Say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone.
sitting in a car by the Crazy Cow Cafe in Beaver, Utah. All right. The question, Kevin, why do you bring up the government so much? It's my opinion. If you disagree with me, I'll fight you tooth and nail on it. I bring up the government and politics because that has had a major effect on our markets, in my opinion, going all the way back to the Clinton era. That's when we seemed more divided. With that said, let's be honest. Republicans looked to the side when he rebalanced our budget and had a balanced budget by pulling money out of Social Security to balance the budget. We didn't care. There were much fewer, maybe, retirees that were pulling, and it was growing kind of the way it was supposed to back then. Do I wish we would have cared more and said, no, don't take from the Social Security? We'd be in much better shape right now. So it's not like the government choices have repercussions on our stock market there at the moment, as well as into the future. So that's why I'm bringing up things that are political. Again, we've been doing it for probably 12 years, and it's probably affected us. And I've been paying attention to it all the way back to the Clinton era. So that's why I bring it up, because it affects us, it affects our market, and it affects our future. Any other questions you guys have that I can answer for you? And hopefully I'm doing that, by the way, on a non-biased. I always try to show both sides. I let you guys make your own decisions. So I guess what I'm trying to do is be the news that we used to have back in the past. And again, I know some of you said, well, you said one thing, but you had an article that said the other side. Yes, I try to give you guys both sides of the equation. I try to scrub and make sure what I'm giving you is legit from everything that I can see out there. So you guys get to see both sides and you guys get to make your own decision. So that's why I do it that way, and that's why I comment on it. Any other questions you guys have? If not, we're going to try to get home by around 10:30 tonight. I got a stock market tomorrow that I'm really interested in seeing how it opens up, to see if we can run 2 days in a row and make back the rest of what we lost on Friday. We only made back about 60% of it. All right, guys. Hey, thank you. Thank you very much, Russ. I appreciate the compliment. How many people do you know that do a webinar from their car? Not too many. At least I think so. Appreciate it, Maud. Thank you. Safe travels. Good night, Kevin. I'm just hoping my wife doesn't kiss my ear a whole bunch and make it hard for me to drive home. That's all I'm going to say. She's completely ignoring me, guys. That went over like a, well, never mind. I'm not going to say it. All right, guys. Hey, take care. Uh, Last week's is not posted. Again, I took a couple days off last week. I'm trying to find out what's holding it up. It might be held up that the SEC is not approving my webinars, in which case I'm just going to stick them all up. They can look at it when they get back. All right. Yes, I'm trying to delay. All right, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Talk to you guys next Monday. Have a good week. And until then, don't worry. We're watching your accounts so you don't have to. Good night, everyone.